Nobody there.
Nobody there.
Nobody there.
Okay, we got something there. What is that? What is that? That we would hear female voices up in this area.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Twin Ports Paranormal. I'm Victoria Main. I'm here with the guys, Rick, Steve, and Harley. And today we're going to play some of the best EVPs these guys have captured during their adventures. So let's start talking about this first place you were, the first couple of things we have. One's an EVP and one's a still image.
Yes. That was a church converted to apartments. And we had evidence of great EVPs in the place. We got some pictures. And at one time, well, actually a couple of times, they had seen a little boy walking in the basement apartment, going from one room to the other. And one of the tenants actually thought that they saw a little boy go into the back room, and went in the back room and found there was no little boy. So it was a really interesting night.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things happened in front of that place. There's years ago there was an accident in front. Someone died there. Right in front of the building. One of our investigators, Sammy, she was the one telling us what she was seeing. She has that ability, and we find out later there was an accident there. And someone died.
Oh, so Sammy saw the accident?
Yeah.
Saw a lot of blood.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was. Mm-hmm.
And this place was out in the sticks somewhere in Douglas County?
In Douglas County, yep.
Okay.
Church converted into apartments.
Okay, so it's an apartment building now. How many units are in this building?
I believe there's like 4.
4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a smaller apartment building.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, other tenants there were experiencing things too. According to Daryl, he's the one that takes care of the place.
This Daryl guy was how you guys got contacted?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was a maintenance individual there. Took care of the place, and people move, and he'd go in and clean it up, and things along that line. But he heard a lot of stories from the tenants that were there, so he called, and
Someone moved out out of the lower unit
and the upper one.
And he thought it'd be a good time to get in there and try to see what's going on. So these places were totally empty, that we went into, and it was a good evening we had there.
All right. Well, let's see. What's our first? Oh yeah, this is a pretty funny one because I don't know. It's
Well, what was going on at this moment here? Harley and Sammy, and we're in the living room sitting on the floor, and they were gonna ask some questions and that. In the meantime, I'm walking around with my phone, and I'm gonna be snapping pictures throughout the place while they're having a discussion in the living room. And we got this EVP, which is actually amplified really a lot. That's why, you're going to hear a click. That's actually the sound of the phone camera, when you take a picture. So you hear that click, and then you get this voice. And, after this, EVP will show image also, a still of what was caught in the window. So.
okay. And was the image caught in the window? Was that at the same? That was on it. Was that the same time you guys were there, or was it a different time?
No, that was the same time. That was while I was taking those pictures.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you got to listen to this one. It's pretty good.
Okay, well, let's play that first EVP.
It makes you wonder too. Who's he saying that to?
Well, so that little click you hear is
That's
the actual picture being taken.
That's the sound the camera makes in the phone.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, it's really amplified, so we can hear what he was saying. But again, who is he saying that to?
Mm-hmm.
Were there other spirits there?
Was other spirits, or was it actually talking to us? We don't know.
It sounds like somebody talking to someone who's observing a group
right.
and saying, why is he taking pictures? Like they're talking to each other.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Well, let's bring up that still that shows the the image they got right after that.
That's a window there. And that's the flash. But then you look in there, you see that, to me, it's an elderly guy.
It definitely looks like an elderly guy.
It
Yeah.
definitely looks like a face.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have my glasses on, but, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, that was actually at the same time and
Right.
walking around. And I was, there's nobody else in that place except for the ones in the living room. And, some people might think maybe that was me getting a reflection, but it wasn't. I was snapping pictures and of course, I'm holding my phone, and snapping pictures. You would have seen a phone or something there,
Right.
in that image also. But, yeah, no, that was something that
That was weird.
was not me.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Okay, so let me just kind of find out where we are in our next one here. These next couple of ones we've got, these are at Ron's house.
That was investigation. Our first one that, Ron asked us to come and check it out.
Oh, let's just remind people, Ron Thompson.
Yeah, he's our
He was a member of the group.
he was a member of our group. He was a heck of a guy, and he passed.
He wasn't a member then.
Not then he
Yeah,
wasn't.
he was
no,
just a
but
client, yep.
After we did his house and we come back with the evidence, he became a member.
Okay.
So it's
So what prompted Ron to call you guys in?
he said there's stuff going on. He'd get poked, and his wife would. It was like she had an alarm clock that woke her up sometimes. She I think she said she had felt something. She especially does now since Ron's passed. So and he just delivered parts from Auto Value, and I walked in one day and we started talking, and he says, "Could I ask you something?" And I said, "What's that?" He says, "Would you guys mind coming out and checking out my house?" Well, sure. We'll jump at the opportunity, So
Yeah, he was getting poked, and I think he mentioned too that they would see things, from the side,
In the
they see like-
peripheral, yeah.
and stuff like that, and there'd be noises too. They would hear, and they couldn't explain what they were hearing. So he had us come out there and check it out, But it was actually a very active place. We had many things we caught there, in the thermal. We got video of orbs that were unique that came out of his place too, But this is something that where Harley was asking questions, and then he brought up him being a minister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he got some answers there.
Okay, so let's go to that third EVP, if we have that one.
I had him with this years with me being a preacher. I had him with this years with me being a preacher.
And Harley slowed it down.
That's pretty clear.
we do that just we slow it down sometimes, just be absolutely sure we're hearing what we got.
Yeah,
Sometimes if it's played fast, it sounds different than what it really is.
yeah.
So
And then he continued on, with asking, more with this spirit, him being a minister and stuff like that. And that sort of relates to the next one that we got.
So-
It's same place.
Yeah.
So is it Ron that's talking before this, or is it you, Harley?
as me.
So Harley's given this person some advice, this spirit.
I'm asking a question, are you ready to move on? And I got an answer.
All right, well, let's play number 4.
Are you ready to go to the next level of your life? Are you ready to go to the next level of your life?
Very respectful.
Are you on to the next level of your life. Yes, sir.
And then we didn't do a cleansing there.
No.
But you did do
We did a passing prayer
yeah.
for the individuals out there. If they wanted to go, then they
To help
could
them
go.
move on.
Right. And it was pretty cool. I mean, who'd ever thought? But some of the stuff we caught in Ron's house, it was just it was amazing when we played back.
Yeah.
So
And Ron didn't, he didn't want a cleansing, he just sort of wanted to know what was going on.
Yeah.
You know.
So he was going to let him stay.
Yeah, and even up until Ron passed, he would still get poked and stuff like that, a little shove in the back, and myself and Harley, we've been talking that we might want to go over there and maybe ask Ron, now that he's passed, does he know who's been giving him those little?
That's
who
a
that
good
was.
question.
You
If
know?
you get an answer to that
That's a great
question.
I mean, he
idea.
should know by now.
Ron has been picking on. Well, he picked on me when I was working on the Corvair. He came back and he saw his wife.
Yeah.
She acknowledged. She looked and smiled and she nodded, and Ron nodded back and disappeared. So he came back. He was going to.
Yeah,
Ron always promised he was going to come back.
yeah. So
And
I
he
think
was going to haunt us, and he would show up at an investigation
Yeah.
because he was going to ride with us.
Yeah.
that's why I think we
I believe that.
we want to go back, and I think we're gonna have the okay for that, and
Yeah.
we'll find out. I want to find out who was shoving him.
Oh, that would be really
Yeah,
wacky.
yeah.
Man, if he comes back and answers you, and you can tell it's Ron's, because you'll recognize Ron's voice,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, he said he's gonna. He said he's gonna let us hear him.
Wow. Well, that'll be something that
We'll have to see.
that might like go viral or something. 'Cause
Yeah.
people will be like, "Are you kidding me?"
Right?
Yeah, because now you have a spy on the other side now.
We do.
Essentially,
We do.
You've got a man on the other side.
Oh, yeah, he's still working for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's still on the team.
Oh,
Yep.
absolutely.
Oh, this next one is from the Raspberry Inn, and I had actually gone through on one of you guys' investigations with. I was actually on this one. So that is the house in Superior. Where was this in the house?
We called it the Rose Room.
Yep.
Oh, that okay.
Rick's favorite place.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we had a spirit box on the floor, and everybody was in a circle around it, and we were asking questions and stuff like that. But at one point, it just spurted out this name, and I thought this one was good for Harley.
So the Rose Room was kind of interesting because that was the one that some people felt really bad in the Rose Room, and
Yeah,
other
I didn't
people
like
felt
it.
really good.
I did not like
Others
the Rose
felt
Room.
really energetic, like
I
him.
loved the room.
It was
Yeah,
yeah.
it just
Yeah,
That was
I
the first
didn't.
place
I
you go
didn't
every
feel
time.
anything. I felt okay in that room too.
yeah.
It felt really heavy to me. Like,
Really?
really oppressive to me. But then Rick goes in there and he gets energized.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, they liked Rick.
Yeah. Again, I wish I would have had this on a recording, but there was a time I walked out of the Rose Room and I was upstairs by myself. And I walk out of the Rose Room and I clearly hear a woman's voice that says, Rick, like why, why
Like,
are
what
you
are you
leaving?
doing here?
Yeah, Rick. And I turn around, like, nobody's there. But I mean, clear as day, but I had no recorder going on at the time.
We've had many recordings where I got EVPs where they're calling Rick,
Yeah.
and it's do you know anybody you hear and you'll hear Rick, the name Rick will
So
come.
they're starting to recognize you on the other
Yeah.
side. I mean,
yeah.
been
And
doing
at the
this.
Raspberry, we all heard voices with our own ears where we didn't have recorders going.
Yeah.
But it was the most active place, as far as that goes, I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I actually got touched on the back of my head. On
Yeah, I
the
remember that.
Raspberry. And I was trying to look around to see if somebody had bumped me or if somebody was talking and breathed on my hair, because all of a sudden I just felt my hair like very gently.
Yeah, 'cause I was right next to you.
Yeah, like a very gentle kind of touch, or like my hair just kind of went poof, And I was like, what was that?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Okay, so let's go to number 5 here. Spirits at the Raspberry.
Here's one just for you. Here it goes.
pretty clear. Harley,
Harley. I mean, you couldn't get more clear than that.
just like kind of name it. You know, before we move on to the next one, I just want to ask a quick question. You know, I've heard you guys talk a couple times about how people see stuff out of the corner of their eye all the time. Well, in my house, I see a cat. I see a ghost kitty. Like, and I'll think it's my cat because I have a cat.
We did an investigation one time in Duluth, and I was sitting in a chair, and I just look off to the left, and I seen a black cat, a dark colored cat, walk behind me and off into the bedroom. She didn't have a cat.
Well, you know, it's funny you bring that up. It was one of the EVPs I wanted to put on here. And it was when you seen that cat, but you had to say, you know, a little cuss word, you know, you said, you know, whatever. And immediately, too, the response after that is, what now? You know, because the way he was acting, you know, and there was this response.
What in the blank was
now?
that?
Yeah, and then
It's like a
he brought
squirrel's
up
cat.
the cat.
Yeah.
I just saw a cat.
Yeah.
You know. So,
Well,
yeah.
and what happens at my house is like I'll assume it's my cat. I'll see it's because it's clearly a cat. Like my eye, I have really good peripheral vision, and my eye identifies it as a cat. So I assume it's my cat.
Right.
So but then when I turn my head, there's nothing there, and then I'll go into the bedroom to check to see where my cat is, and she's asleep in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, there's another cat here.
Well,
I think there might be a lady that does dishes too.
I had a deal where I was investigating with a paranormal celebrity and some other people, and we were at the Stanley Hotel, and I clearly heard the sound of a cat jumping off the bed on the hardwood floor,
Oh, okay.
and I mentioned it,
I know that sound.
and the paranormal celebrity actually heard it too, and then he looked at the bedroom door, and he saw the four legs of the cat go by the threshold of
Oh
the
my
door.
gosh.
And it's funny because him and I were one of the only people that actually heard it. But I had just had to put down a cat, and I was so familiar with that sound of a cat landing on the hardwood floor.
Yep.
There was no way that was not a cat landing on a hardwood floor.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a very distinct sound. And
Yeah.
I hear my cat do it all the time, and I'll be in the basement and I'll hear directly in, what is, the room above.
Yeah.
And I'll hear distinctly her little feet, and she's no lightweight, so it's a noticeable sound, for a little thing. Okay. So this is at your house, right, Harley?
Yes, this was at that, I used to live on 2123 in the city, and we moved out. We were selling the house. We had everything was gone. There was no furniture.
Completely empty.
And we decided we were going to do an investigation there because we had family members that had passed in the house. So we got this one here. I'm not exactly sure what our discussion was at the time. We were put some questions, but we were
Well, they're
told don't speak.
Telling you to be quiet, I guess.
Yeah, well, actually, what was happening in this one is you had a meter, and it was going off, and you made the comment, hey, this is happening, and then he gets a response. We got a response after that, and again, it's one of those responses that there's more than one there because it's obviously talking to somebody else.
Yeah. All right, well, let's listen to number 6 here.
Meter's going off just steady. Yeah. Meter's going off just steady. Yeah.
It's so pronounced too.
It knew the meters are going off, but it was telling maybe this other spirit there too, don't speak.
Don't speak because they'll hear you if you
Yeah.
speak right now because you had your doohickeys going. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, and you brought up too that you think you might have known who might have been there.
Well, I believe that my cousin that was the last one to pass in the house. I believe that he was there. We have a SLS that we can bring in the future because we'll do a full investigation review here for it. But where a guy is leaning against the mantle, chimney or the fireplace mantle. He's trying to straighten out his leg to stand. You can see he's struggling. Well, my cousin had a prosthesis, and he had a leg from above the knee down that he would strap on and go if he went someplace. But he's struggling with this leg trying to stand. Well, you know, God says, you know, when you die, you're made whole again. So it's really kind of blew my mind when I seen that. But I believe that was him responding in some of these things.
Well, maybe he was doing that so that you could identify him.
Possibly.
You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
You associate that with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you brought it up to me also that, you know, maybe he wasn't happy that you were moving.
Yeah, I was called a liar. Because, you know, it just too many issues with that home. And we had a chance to get the opportunity to sell it and go someplace else, and we did. So
So he might not have been happy about
he was
that.
not happy because I turned around when I played one EVP at the house here. I listened to it, and I had to stop right there. I didn't even analyze any further when he said liar, and I said that's enough for me. So I'll go back to it later.
Okay, well, this next one now, this next one is at, this is the old cemetery out by Superior, correct? Out by the Nemadji?
Yeah, it's all cut across. It's Z, I think is
Yeah, County Road Z.
out on Z. Yeah, there's an old cemetery road there, and it goes back to a cemetery that's most of the graves are late 1800s, early 1900s. So
This one, I actually, when I listened to this, I thought was one of you guys talking. It's that clear. I assumed it was one of you.
Yeah, what's interesting, I think on this one too, we tore things down. We're taking it, we're done, and was it you and Sammy or
Gabby.
Gabby? You and Gabby were at one end, and myself and Ron and there's one more with us, but we were tearing down on the other end of the cemetery, so we were totally far apart, and there'd have been no reason why anybody on my side would have said anything like that, you know.
Yeah. All right, well, let's give a listen to number 7 there.
You know, it's her baby crying. Yeah. It's her baby crying. Yeah.
We heard this with our own ears, and then I went back and played it, and we pulled it up.
It's a
Why is there a baby
it's
crying?
sort of a whispering voice.
Yeah, it is.
I remember when that happened. Harley goes, "I heard it." He goes, "Somebody said something with the baby crying," you know.
I said, yeah, what I said was, there's something about a baby.
Yeah.
I said something about a baby, and I couldn't.
No, tell what's on the ground. Tell what you seen.
Well, you see, there's a grave with 3 family members on one side, and that was Sarah and the mother, and we got something from them too. But then there's Ed Anderson, I think, was on the left, and right between the both of them is a small marker that you used to use for children, and just a letter on it, and it was a children's marker, and I assumed right then that, well, maybe that's where the baby was. And we probably could have been hearing Sarah or somebody, you know, asking why the baby was crying. It was just all right there. But we got some good responses in that corner of the cemetery. So
Yeah, that was weird. That was so clear, but you're right, kind of whispery.
Yeah.
Why is there a baby crying? Like,
when I heard that, I was so surprised. I mean, it's like, did you hear something about a baby? And Gabby goes, yeah.
so you heard it with your own
She
ears.
heard it too. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Now we have our next one is back at Harley's place.
Right.
I mean, that's the one where you had a couple of words, and we kind of pieced together, Harley and I, and reviewing it on Wednesday, we came up with the first part.
Okay.
So let's listen to number 8.
We wanted to be quiet down here for Liz. Please tell us what to do.
do
That
hear
sounds
that.
demonic.
I do hear that.
That was Ron asking.
Yeah, at first I couldn't figure out what that first part was, but we got
Well, and
that
it's
get
kind
out.
of, it's kind of
But now that you
forceful.
play that and you listen
It's like,
to it,
why
yeah,
don't
why
you
don't you?
get out?
Yeah.
And then that out is like, out.
Yeah,
That sounds evil.
Ron asked the
So it's a
question.
little creepy, yeah.
yeah,
We were in the living room area, and Ron was sitting against the wall, and he was asking a question. And the following day was his birthday. So we're sitting back there. He says, "Say, do you know who's going to have a birthday in this room?" And the voice says, "You." So that was really funny.
Yeah.
He said, Ron asked who, and the voice comes back and says, "You."
So they know stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we got one EVP left. And this is somewhere Dallas?
West
We-
Duluth.
Yep, West Duluth.
Okay.
And Della's house, we actually did her house twice, exactly 1 year apart. And this particular one was on the second investigation. And we're walking down the stairs into the basement, and I just asking, question, and we got a response, But it was quite the place. Someday we're going to have a good show on that place. We'll combine the two investigations on everything that we caught there. But they remembered us.
Okay, well, let's hear number 9.
My name is Rick. Harley is coming down the stairs. We were here a year ago. We're so in May. Ron's new.
It's my first time here, so I'd sure like to talk to you.
And first of all, I want to say thank you for the last time we were here. My name is Rick. Harley is coming down the stairs. We were here a year ago. We're so in May. Ron's new.
What?
So you're saying, you're identifying yourself, you're saying we were here a year ago, we're here again, and the voice says yes.
Yes.
Why?
Why?
That's just weird.
Yeah.
Why do you keep coming back here?
Yeah. The first time there was, a whole different situation going on. And the second time was due to someone else being there that they allowed in the house for a while. And some issues were coming up. And that's why we went back the second time. But,
The first time, the light bulbs in the basement
yeah,
would unscrew. The water heater would get shut down. So in the morning, you have to go down, make sure the water heater was on, because his wife would take a shower and he would go in there and get cold water. So he'd go downstairs and make sure it was on right away, and you have to go turn it up.
It sounds like we need to know the full investigation
Yeah.
on that one.
It's going to be a good one.
Is our next episode, we're pretty much out of time here, but is our next episode now, are we doing more EVPs next time? Or
I
are we
think-
doing a full episode?
I think we should do a full episode. And,
Yeah.
and it's going to be either Harley's place or Della's. We'll get something put together.
All right, you heard it here first. Join us next time. We'll be at Harley's or Della's. Thank you.